All right, so let's say we want to change the property of multiple elements at once. How can we do that? So I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete this one. And let's say we want to change the property of certain element, and let's pick for this scenario. We would use let me see, what can we use here? Let's try out image. And for these images, we would have several images, maybe just 3, because I don't want this video to be too long, but I'm going to show you an example of 3. Now, there are 2 ways we can do this, right? We can choose to name these images and rename these images, image 1 as it is here, image 2, image 3. Now, for consistency with the previous video I made, I'm just going to make this image 0, image 1, and image 2. Now, with that done, 2 approaches we can use to solve this problem would be, one would be for us to come here and say set property for image 1 or image 0, and we want to set the property of say maybe we want to change the icon color to, we've just looked at RGB, right? We can say to RGB 255, and let's say we want to add alpha to it. All right, and let's say we want to set the property of image 2 or image 1 to something else, right? We can do this. But now imagine you have like 20 or you have like 30 of these images all littered, all scattered here. How do you want to do that? You would start saying image 0, image 1, set property, and say you want to set multiple properties. In fact, how do you this is going to lead you into way too much code. So you have lots of codes to write. So how can we minimize the number of the amount of code we write in this application? So this is where this thing called loops come in, because with loops we can now say, okay, we have 3 images here, right? So if we start counting at 0, we would have 0, 1, 2, right? So let's say I'm going to call these, let's call these element actually. I'm not sure if that would make sense. Let's call this index actually. So var index equal to 0, and that index would just represent the numbers here. So if you click on this image, what that index is going to represent is just the number here. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Just this number here. That's what we want to use that index to represent. And so think of it like this. We're taking this string and we are concatenating it with this number, right? I just told you now that the only thing we want that for loop to represent is this number here. The essence of that for loop is just the number at the end of this image. And again, notice that the names are the same thing, image, right? So if, for instance, you by mistake, you write images in one of these, it's not going to work, because now you have image 0, but now here you have images 1, right? So when you're writing your code, it's not going to work. So you want to make sure that all the elements have the same name, image, image, image. All right, let's get back here. So here we know that the index is going to go all the way from 0 to, but not including 3. So we want to say less than 3, and we also want to say index plus plus. So here now what we can do is, just so you understand what's happening, let's do a console.log first. And here in the console.log, what we want to do is to do image, and then we say plus the index. And so again, remember, I told you that the only thing we want this for loop to represent is just the number, right? So the first iteration is going to be image 0. The second iteration, the console.log, is going to be image 1, image 2. So these are things you want to do when you're developing your application. Don't rush it. Just break it down into simpler parts. So let me run these and let's see what we get when we run this application. If I click on this change button, you can see now that we have image 0, image 1, image 2. And that tells us that this is working. So we can continue with what we're doing. And now, what do I want to do with that? So let's say I want to set the property of that image. I want to set the property to, no, not set position. I want to set the property. I want to set the property of that image, right? But now you wonder, we have different images. This is image 0, this is image 1, this is image 2. But we want to do this all at once, right? So the way to do that is, recall that we've just printed this out now in the console.log by doing image plus index, right? That was the code. This is the code that generated this output for us. And this output, this is the ID of a particular element. So getting back, let's get back here. If I click on this, you notice that this is the ID, image 0. Click on this, this is image 1. I'll click on this, this is image 2. So get back to the code, the same thing we have here, just by using the for loop, right? So what property do I want to change? So let's say we want to change let's change the icon color, and let's set the icon color to, so this time around, let's say we want to randomize. Again, we've talked about how to use random numbers. So why not just use that here now? So let's go ahead and have this random here. We can say random number, and let's say 0 through 255. That's for the first R. For the R, I'm just going to strike enter, and here I'm going to change this again, random number 0 through 255 rather, pardon me, and then we have random number 0 through 255, and at the end we have a semicolon. Now it says we have I probably have an extra bracket right there, parentheses, yes. All right, so now let's see if what we did here, if it indeed worked correctly. So I'm just going to run this program, and when I click on change, I don't see this image, right? So let's see if there is a property for us, if there's a property that helps us to see this image. And notice that these images aren't showing because we don't have any image to show. So to show an image, we have to go here, right? And let's pick icons. Let's pick icons. I'm going to pick a couple of icons. This is going to be one. All I just want to do is to, so if I choose this, for instance, this is what the icon is. So now I just wanted to write a code to change that icon to this one. And again, just so I'm sure if this works or not. So let's go ahead and set the property this time around. This is just for testing purpose. I'm going to change image 0. I want to change the image to, I'm not going to choose, I'm just going to send this value in right there. And I will have a semicolon. So if I go ahead and run this application and I click on this button, change, you notice now that we have this icon here as well. So now, how can we do this? Because we don't want to have the same icon. I mean, again, just for the purpose of this example, we don't want to have the same images. We want to have different images. This is where list comes in. So with list, we can create a list here and say var image lists. And we set that to a list of different icons. So we can get the icon here. We need to put that in quote. I'll do this, and let me just get more icons from this place. Icons, let's choose this one. What does this one say? Icon FA user. I'll copy that back to this place in quote. I'm going to put in quote. I'll paste that there, and I'm going to add one more. Just again, I don't want this video to be too long, and I'll add a third one. And the third one I'm going to add is probably this one right here. All right, so I will copy this and I will go here and paste it right here. So now we have 3 different icons, right, that we can select from. And so how can we select this icon? So again, notice that we can then use this random again, this random number. Remember, a random number will always return a number. So how can we access the first item here? Again, just so you understand what's happening, if I do image lists of 0, it means we are setting all these items, all these icons, we're setting everything to whatever is in this place, which is volume up. So in fact, let me just change this to 1 actually. So I'm going to stop this and I'm going to reset, run, change. Notice now that we have this here, right? If I click change again, notice the only thing that's changing here, if you notice, is just the color, right? But this is changing, this changes, of course, the color as well, because we didn't ask it to randomize. But what is it we've done? We've set the property of image 0. We've set that property to the second item in the list of images we can choose from. So how can we do this if we want to randomize? Would be for us to have a random number here, right? It was a number. It was a number we had in here before. So random number will return a number in any case. So how about returning a number from 0 to how many icons can we select from? This is 1, 2, 3. So it means we can go all the way from we want to go all the way from 0 to 2, because again, we're counting the index, right? So we can randomize from 0 to 2, and that would give us 0. So it means we can look at what I want you to picture this for a moment. So let's say our random number generates 1. All right. It means what we're doing is invariably saying random number 1. Pardon me. That was not what I wanted to do. Control Shift Z, Control Shift Z. All right. So I want you to picture this. This here would return a number. So let me cut this off. And what do you see now? It's the same code we had before, right? And I'm just getting rid of that code and just replacing that with a number that is randomly generated for us. So let's go ahead and run this application and let's see if this actually works correctly for us. So now we change this and you see we have this, and I change again, and we should actually have, okay, so we have from 0 to 1. That's not what I want to see. From 0 to 2 is what we want to do. And again, notice that we're only doing for image 0. So let's go ahead and do it for all the images. And the way to do that is let's just move this to this place right here. And rather than have image, we'll just have image plus index. And image lists, and we're saying we can pick a random number from 0 to 2, between 0 and 2. So I'm going to stop this and rerun again. And now you see we're picking a number from 0 to 3, and that's it. So we can actually change these images based on these indexes. Hopefully this was helpful. And please let me know if you have any question in the comment section. Please let me know in the comment section if you have any question. about this. Now, in the next video, I want to quickly show you how you can also change other properties, and we'll see in the other one. Bye for now.